In the wake of the 2018 Parkland shootings, artist Amy Khoshbin asked people all over the United States, what is the opposite of a weapon? Their answers informed her project, The Opposite of a Weapon, which is comprised of drawings, sculptures, and screen prints depicting everything from an ice cream truck to one of those massaging chairs you sit in when you get your toes done. Amy's latest project also merges art and politics. It's called You Never Know. It's been shown at the Whitney and the ICP, and it's a somewhat surreal performance and speech that is part of Amy's very real run for New York City Council in 2021. Amy Khoshbin, welcome to 112BK.
Thank you for having me.
So you're running for office?
Yes.
Congratulations. That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to run for City Council, and why 2021?
Right. So I decided to run for City Council back around the time that Trump was elected, honestly. It sort of lodged in my mind that, you know, here I am, I'm Iranian-American, I'm queer, and I felt like those voices were starting to be more and more silenced given the Muslim ban, things that were happening with transgender and queer rights in the country. And so I was thinking, well, what can we do on the local level to really sweep change from the ground up, as opposed to kind of these overarching xenophobic, homophobic edicts that we were getting from the top down. And so I started this investigation into what would it take to run for city council around that time. And I realized that I wanted to do it in a really earnest way, because we didn't need more people running for office that didn't know what they were doing, like said president. And so I wanted to kind of take my time with the run, and I looked forward because there was a run happening in 2017 in the fall, and I decided, no, how about 2021? So I'm running in District 38, which is Sunset Park, Red Hook, Greenwood Heights, parts of Borough Park, Diker Heights, and Windsor Terrace. And Carlos Menchaca is the councilman for that district, and he's doing an incredible job. He's a progressive activist.
He's great.
He's great. So I didn't want to run against him, basically, and put money towards, you know, having to fight me off as some kind of project or whatever. So instead, I am trying to start digging into the community, get involved, and see what the process of actually running for office is like. And for me, I feel like that means taking your time, understanding what the needs are of the community, getting involved in your community board, starting the LLC, doing the fundraising, and kind of taking the time that it requires to actually understand what this process is. And part of the project is it's an information gathering project to gather this sort of opaque information that is hard to find online or anywhere about how to actually engage in local politics, and to digest it and put it out to the community in a way where it's like, let's get excited about getting involved. Can we change the political landscape into something that's meeting us where we're at, that's fun, that's entertaining, that also has, you know, room for voices that are underrepresented, and creating spaces of empowerment for those voices. So my latest project with this run is that I want to create a video series on how to run for office for the layman. So thinking about, as we're going into the 2020 presidential campaign, I think having this sort of short, bite-sized, entertaining web series on the steps it takes to run and get involved at the local level, so we feel like we actually have a place where our voices can be heard and we can enter into the political landscape and sweep this kind of progressive change from the ground up, no matter what happens at the national level.
So this is very much a real run.
Yes.
But you are using the process to inform your art practice.
That's right.
You said that you want to demystify the complex structures of government and to empower others to vote, run for office, and get involved in local government, as you mentioned.
Yes.
I'm curious about what some of the most confusing or surprising things you've discovered so far have been.
Well, I think what's been confusing is honestly how to even get involved in your local community on some level. Where is the information about how to join your community board? You know what I mean? Where is the information about, okay, once you start going to these community board meetings, that there's actually a process, a vetting process of getting to know the folks that are sitting on the board, and then starting to sit in on their meetings and start to create like a voice for yourself in the community. What are the community organizations that are out there in everyone's local environment? And I think that for me, those confusing things could be cleared up by just literally going out and doing it. And I think that's what this whole process has been about.
Absolutely. And I think that's a lot of I think after the election, a lot of people were expressing similar levels of confusion about, I really want to be involved, maybe do something with local government. I have no idea how to do that.
Right.
So I welcome this web series.
Yes,
Another
totally.
component of this run is, as we mentioned, a speech called You Never Know.
Yes.
And we actually have a clip from that, so let's play that now.
Okay, cool.
Hero protagonist wants to play. There's another fucking way to play. Baby, don't need the sword today. Baby, don't need the gun to play. Swipe toss out the bottle like horses a bottle. Swag from here to cobble like go with a throttle. Fly to your bag full like a bull. Not a band, no way, 99%. Hey, we're ready to descend. No more mindless violence. Break our fucking silence. Wake our inner brilliance. Like we're RuPaul on clearance. Understand just what I meant. Click the button and fucking press.
So tell me a little bit about what we just saw. You are a multidisciplinary artist. You're also a rapper.
Yes.
Why did you choose to put this piece together as a facet of your candidacy?
So this piece was really timely, and I feel like leading up to the 2018 midterm elections this past fall, which were amazing in terms of the wins that we saw in the House for women, folks of color, queer folks, I really wanted to get people excited and involved in the electoral process, because I feel like that's a place where we see a lot of disenfranchisement, a lot of gerrymandering. And so I did a performance at the Whitney Museum right before the state primaries, the Democratic primaries. I did it again in September before another primary election. And so it was really about hyping people to go out, to understand what the structures of government were that we were voting for, what state Senate is versus national Senate, what the House is, again, at the state level versus at the national level, and then really hyping the audience to have this kind of cathartic experience. So the first part of the speech is really about the reasons that I'm running and why we're voting. The second part of the speech is it kind of evolves into this rap performance where I actually, chant with the audience, no more violence, break our silence, shine our brilliance, we make a difference. And it's really just super basic, but really transformative to actually look other people in the eyes, grab their hands, move with them, sing with them, and kind of break down these invisible barriers we put up around ourselves. And we do it with technology in so many different ways. And that's part of the run, too, is to inject the political landscape with different creative strategies to connect communities, literally on a human level.
I mean, this sounds to me like a frame that artists bring to the conversation when they decide to run for office. And your candidacy is not the first example of an artist who's decided to run. Tanya Bruguera announced that she was going to run for president of Cuba in 2018.
Yes.
It ended up going to Raul Castro's vice president, unsurprisingly. And Joseph Beuys also founded a number of political parties in Germany, and he spoke extensively about society as a sculptural structure and about the type of creativity that we needed to bring to the political landscape in order to shape a future that we wanted to be a part of. I'm curious about why you think and would encourage other artists to get politically involved and to run for office.
Right. I mean, I agree. And actually, the two references that you brought up are inspirations for me in my practice as well. I was on a panel with Tanya Bruguera speaking about her presidential run. And I think artists have this unique perspective. And let me back up by saying, my theory is that everyone has an artistic impulse inside of them. When we're children, we're all encouraged to experiment with coloring, painting, creativity and creative strategies, and to express ourselves. And so part of what I want to do is to draw that out of every single person that feels comfortable enough to connect with that again, that vulnerable state where you're actually creating and kind of coming from a place of compassion with yourself, and potentially that could radiate outwards towards compassion and empathy with others.
So, Amy, we talked a little bit about artists who become politicians, but I want to switch gears and talk about politicians who become artists. And we have some images that we would like to share with you.
Cool.
And you as a professional artist, I would welcome your feedback, your constructive criticism of these various forms of art. So we'll throw them up here. We'll start with this first one here.
Cool.
Give us your initial impressions, reactions to this painting.
Just literally off the cuff, you want me to respond?
Just whatever makes you feel.
Whatever makes
As a
me feel.
professional artist, do you
Okay.
think this is good art? Do you think this is bad art?
Oh my God, so funny, right. For some reason, I'm getting France, though it might not be French. It sort of is a little bit impressionistic. Maybe that's why.
Do you have any guesses about which 20th century world leader painted this? I was going to say there's no wrong answer, but there is a wrong answer. But it's fine if you don't know, because I didn't know until I did this research.
Whoa, I don't know.
It's not a French leader, but it's a European
It's a European leader.
world leader.
Oh my God, I have no idea.
This is Winston Churchill.
Okay, that was sort of floating in the back of my mind, but I didn't want to say it. Maybe I'll just be more brazen next time. That's surprising, but
What's
right?
surprising to you about it?
Well, I don't know. I feel like knowing Winston Churchill and kind of his strong policy to see this painting that's sort of super peaceful and pastoral.
But maybe he needed that as an outlet.
I think so.
All right, we will show another one.
Oh my God, George Bush.
What do you
Is this
think?
George Bush's? Is this a self-portrait?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is George Bush we should say George W. Bush.
Yeah, George
by
W.
George
Sorry,
W.
that's
Bush.
what I mean. Yeah, right.
Yeah, describe what you're seeing and how it makes you feel and what you think about it.
Well, so this is so interesting because I've talked about this with some of my art friends that, I mean, as much as I disagreed with the policies of George W. Bush and as much as that was a hard administration to live under, weirdly, I enjoy his paintings.
I do too.
I know.
I think he's a much better artist than he was
Yes.
a politician.
Yes, I agree.
What if in like the sliding doors of his life, he had ended up getting an MFA and actually just made remarkable contributions to modern art instead of
really wish he had done
instead of his
that.
presidency. Yeah, I mean, I think that he has a real voice. All right, we've got another one for you.
Oh. Okay, I'm looking at. Wait a minute. Is this one work?
Actually, I'm confused about this too. Is
Right.
this like a diptych that we're
I know.
seeing?
And this is also a leader. This is also some kind of
This
political
is also
leader.
a world leader of the 20th century.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know this segment was happening.
Yeah,
by the
we
way.
sprung this on you.
Yeah, totally. Because I'm like, I have no idea. God, so this is really violent imagery, but it's interesting because it's violent imagery that doesn't include the human form. It's all happening within the animal world. I have no idea who this is. Is it a presidential leader?
It's not a U.S.
It's not.
politician. No.
Okay.
No.
I'm like Margaret Thatcher. I have no.
I would love if Margaret Thatcher had
Oh
painted
my
this.
God,
That's
no.
a great guess. It's actually Franco.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. Here's another one. This is a little bit of a low res image, I believe, but I will say that having seen
love
a higher
this.
res, it's still very sort of outsider arty.
It
for
is
lack of a-
very
Yeah,
outsider
tell me what you're
arty.
seeing.
It's very flat perspective, which I think is why it looks outsider arty. There's no human figures in the image, though it is a very human landscape and very homey, kind of with the yellow light. It's very, in my opinion, it's welcoming, but it's also empty and sort of stoic.
This was painted by a former U.S. president.
Oh my God. I'm like, God, I feel like I'm really the worst at this game. I'm like Abraham Lincoln
There's no way to be
or
good at this game. This was
Jimmy Carter. I don't
actually
know.
it's Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's Jimmy Carter. Well done.
Finally.
All right, we've got a couple more, I think. Maybe just one more?
Okay.
One more. Okay, last one.
Ooh.
Yeah. What's this guy all about?
This guy.
What feelings does it give you?
This is very cold to me. This feels, because again, there's like a fountain that's running. There's literally no figuration in the image except for the building. The building is kind of imposing a bit.
That's right. Sort of the power of the institution, perhaps.
Exactly. Yeah, is coming through for me here, which I think is why I'm like, ugh. I'm
going to say that all your instincts are very good.
Oh, thank you.
Any guesses before I reveal this one?
God, I don't know. Is it a European leader?
It's a European leader.
I had a feeling. No.
It's a bad one.
Oh, it's a bad one?
It's a bad one. It's a bad European leader.
Is it Hitler?
It's Hitler.
Yeah!
Hitler did this. I mean,
not yay about
yeah,
Hitler,
no, just to be
yay
clear,
about
we're not...
getting that answer. No, boo on
Isn't that fascinating, though? I like thinking of this, again, sliding doors alternate reality, where he was just like some dick at art school.
Agree.
Rather than the head of the Nazi
Just
party.
stay in that MFA program,
That's
Hitler.
right. That's right. You're
Jesus.
going to do great,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Amy Khoshbin, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.